Presented by Bigelow Tea, Jackson Lumber, Blue Moon Light, Wellesley Testosterone, FindMassMoney.com, Gem Plumbing, and by Golf.
On Boston's home for sports, 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Jared, who would your number one choice be on the trade market?
Oh, Joe Ryan, no question. Okay. I mean, it's not a matter of who the guy is. It's a matter of will the Twins do it? And everyone has a price. I think in the particular case of Joe Ryan, you're going to have to get creative. And whether that's taking on a bad contract to help out the Twins, whether that's involving a third team so that there's prospects and big league guys going all over the place. Like if you don't have the names in particular, let's say there's a pitching prospect that maybe you don't want to part ways with. Maybe there's another team that can include that pitching prospect to satisfy the Twins, and then you can satisfy this other team. There's ways that you can do it. It's just the likelihood of it is what's in question.
All right, so again, that was last night. Jared Carabas on the program talking about Joe Ryan. And so here's where I want to begin tonight on the Baseball Hour. We'll also get to the Red Sox on the field during the first half of the season. And I want to know how you feel about the team on the field, what you saw, who was the best player, who was the worst player. We'll get to some of this that stuff here in a little bit. Look, it's the All-Star break, long period of time without meaningful baseball or, frankly, meaningful games of any kind. And so I'll take anything I can get with regard to content during a week like this. So we'll touch on that here in just a little bit. But I do want to start with the trading deadline. There is something else we'll get to during the program, probably in the next segment. And that is, yesterday, or 2 days ago, I made a comment about Kenny Rosenthal with regard to the trade deadline. Kenny Rosenthal thought the Red Sox didn't necessarily need a number 2 starter. So I poked a little fun at Kenny, who has responded on his podcast. We'll get to that here in a little bit as well. 617-779-0985. We'll open up the phone lines right away. And so again, but here's where I want to start. You tell me right now, what is your bigger question? If I were to ask you, who do you believe in more? You got to pick one. Whom do you believe in more? The uniformed members of the Red Sox to continue to hang in the race and chase a playoff spot as viable contenders in the American League, or ownership and management and in their commitment to putting a championship caliber team on the field the rest of the way? You follow me? That's the question. If you had to put your money on one or the other, the Red Sox to continue to play well on the field. And by the way, that doesn't mean that they have to go 10-0 every 10 games. But you understand. The Red Sox on the field to hang in there and be in the race and be worthy of an investment, both from you in terms of your time and energy and from management and ownership in terms of money and players. Do you believe more in the uniformed team, or do you believe more in ownership and upper management to put in an effort and deliver the goods as someone like Joe Ryan? 617-779-0985. Now, look, I look at this, and I look at this in very simple terms. And when we get to the trade deadline every year, everyone says the same thing. Your team's in it, you add. Your team's not in it, you don't add, you sell. Except that it's not always as simple as any one given year. And this is my point with the 2025 Red Sox. Go right around the field. Go right around the lineup and the roster. And look at the way they're built. And you say, what? Roman Anthony is 21 years old. Marcelo Meyer is 22. I think Christian Campbell is 22. Abreu is 24. Ceddanne Rafaela is what? 24, 25? Bayo, 24, 25? Somewhere in that area. They have young guys scattered all over the field. And I think we would all agree that, in theory, Christian Campbell will be back here. He's also in his early 20s. And as you go forward, Narvaez is 26. So the point is this. As much as you want to add for the 2025 season, because you never know what is coming, why wouldn't you add to this group now if there is a talent available via trade that can also help you in future years and save you the money of some sort of ridiculous investment for someone who's past his prime or close to it when you get to free agency. Do you understand? I'm asking you to think bigger picture here. So, Jimmy Stewart, I'm going to ask you a favor while I'm at it. Can you punch up the free agency class for this season, which I think would be considered the free agency class of 2026?
Yeah, I believe the biggest name is Kyle Tucker.
Okay, so I want you to give me pitchers. I want to know starting pitchers who are available in the free agent class, because this is my point. If Joe Ryan is the best you're going to do, and when I say the best you're going to do, I'm not dumping on Joe Ryan. I like Joe Ryan, but I'm including the free agent market. If Joe Ryan right now is better than any pitcher on the free agent market, then you better damn well go out and acquire him via trade. Because I expect the Red Sox to be right back in the same spot next year. In fact, I expect them to be better because Roman Anthony will be a little more established. Marcelo Meyer will be a little more established. Campbell might be back here. Casas might be back here. You get the idea. You go right down the lineup. All these guys are maturing. They're getting better. They haven't hit their peak years of their prime yet. This should not be a one-and-done playoff situation. It's not like you have an aging team that's going to turn over at the end of the year, and this is the baseball equivalent of the last dance with the Chicago Bulls. That's not what before I go on, Jimmy, have you come across any names there? Anyone good in this market?
So the best names that I see are Ranger Suarez, Framber Valdez, Dylan Cease, Zach Gallen, Nick Martinez, Michael King, Charlie Morton, Merrill Kelly.
Okay, so
that's kind of it.
So some of those guys are old. I would need to know specific age. Like Charlie Morton's in his 40s.
41.
Okay, so like Ranger Suarez, how old is he?
29 will be 30.
Okay, Michael King, how old is he? Does it have age?
30.
Okay, so again, and these are the type of guys that the Red Sox want to stay away from, at least as it pertains to long-term commitments. So hopefully you're following my logic. It's really not that tough or convoluted, but this is the point. If you can trade a couple of prospects, guarantee yourselves Joe Ryan for 2 years, and you can do that now, why would you choose adding a pitcher via free agency that is going to cost you some sort of big contract, especially if the Red Sox are now in this mode where they're going to, nip and tuck with regard to putting a pitching staff together? It should be all the more impetus for going out there and getting Joe Ryan. Go get Ryan now. Make a good trade. And you know what? When Ryan gets here, if you want to try to sign him, sign him. Maybe that, do your due diligence on that one in the background. Jimmy, I have no idea who Joe Ryan's agent is. Maybe you do. Off the top of my head, I don't know. So if it's Boris, you're probably S out of luck. But I would explore, get some feelers out there. Find out if we trade for Ryan, would he be willing to re-sign here? Could we tack on 4 years? Make it a 6-year contract. Take him into his early 30s. If, you don't want to venture into his late 30s, don't. But if you're going to have to go out and get pitching help either way. And Walker Buehler has not worked out. So what are you going to do? Roll the dice again on a 1-year guy in a $21 million contract who's coming off an injury or some sort of scrub that you think you can turn around? And before you say, well, it's worked with Lucas Giolito, it's worked in year 2. Giolito gave you nothing last year because he got injured. Zippo. Nothing. And I'm tired of the Red Sox taking flyers on guys that they can fix. Whether it's Garrett Richards or Walker Buehler or Michael Wacha or James Paxton, go right down the list. We did this list for you a few weeks back. When you add up all those guys, and I added relievers in there. In fact, one of the interns did the research for us. It was Thomas, I think, right?
Yes.
When we added up all that money from Richards and Paxton and Giolito, you know what the total sum of money was that the Red Sox have spent on pitchers on 1- and 2-year deals over the last 5 or 6 years? You know what the number is? It's about $200 million. $200 million. So I asked the question, would you rather spend the $200 million on Garrett Richards, James Paxton, Lucas Giolito, Michael Walker, some collection of flyers? Would you rather spend it that way? Or would you rather go out and get Max Fried, who's vying for the Cy Young Award? So I'll take Max Fried. See, this is the part I don't get, is that you'll go out and spend $20 million a year on flyers and hit on what? 5% of them? 10%? As opposed to going out and getting Max Fried, signing him to a contract and getting, let's call it 5 good years out of 8. I mean, it worked for the Cubs. They signed John Lester way back when, 10 years ago. It helped them win a World Series. Do you think they regret it? I don't. Do you regret the Pedro Martinez deal? I don't, because at the end, he might not have been worth the money. Even the Kurt Schilling contract, where he got injured at the end, and they even signed him for another deal beyond that. It was worth it. Chris Sale's a little bit of a different case, because at the time, we all knew they shouldn't give him the contract, and they did anyway. But you get the idea. Anyway, 617-779-0985. Who do you trust more? The people in uniform or the people out of uniform to maintain their level of performance? Let's go to Matt in Rhode Island. Matt, what do you got?
Hey, what's up, man? JC. So just first, on whoever that guy was in the podcast saying they don't need a number 2. I mean, the guy must be an idiot because, I mean, Crochet is one of the best pitchers in the league, but you're going to have to pare down on him, his usage, if you're going to go in October. And Giolito, kind of the same thing, so that makes no sense. I'll listen to the sound. But as far as the Peyton Talbot thing, it's like I've been saying Joe Ryan and make the trade, you know, as you were just saying with the free agency, obviously that's not until next year. So, I mean, as special as this kid might be, like, when's he going to get to the big leagues, pair Joe Ryan with Crochet, and you drafted 15 pitchers. Thanks, man.
Yeah, exactly right. So that's another thing. You're drafting all these pitchers now. You're developing them. Red Sox sound confident about their pitching, their development of pitching now. I'll believe it when I see it because historically they just suck so bad at it. And I know it's different ownership and different evaluators, but they've sucked so bad at it. I have a hard time believing that. And developing pitching is difficult. That I will admit. Some organizations historically have been great at it. Baltimore was good at it for a long time. The Dodgers are good at it, identifying and developing pitching. Tampa is clearly excellent at it, and so good for them. The Red Sox don't have any history of it. But if they do believe in it, and it's going to be a couple of years away, go get Joe Ryan because Meyer, Anthony, potentially Campbell, Rafaela, Abreu, all these guys are here now. Crochet is here now. You can start winning now. Go get yourself Joe Ryan. The comment that the caller is talking about, someone who's saying the Red Sox don't need a number 2 starter. That was Kenny Rosenthal of The Athletic and Fox Sports earlier in the week. We'll remind you of what that comment was, which again, sort of tweaked me a little earlier in the week, and I responded to it. I made a comment about wanting to strangle Kenny with his bow tie. Ken Rosenthal has replied to that particular outburst from yours truly. We'll tell you what he said in response. We'll continue with your calls tonight on the Baseball Hour.
The Baseball Hour with Tony Matt.
really intriguing, exciting club, and they've come on a good deal in recent weeks.
It's Kenny Rosenthal, The Athletic and Fox Sports. Kenny's covered baseball a long time, and I'll tell you what, a lot of you may not know this. I'll just, you know what, let me save that first. I want to get to more on Kenny Rosenthal because I said something, when I heard this report by Kenny Rosenthal, one of the first things I said was, they don't need a number 2 starter. If Kenny were here right now, I'd try to strangle him with one of his bow ties. And I meant it as a joke. So I've known Ken a long time. He responded today on his podcast, or within the last couple of days. I don't know, it may have aired today. Or what's the word I'm looking for? Posted. Might have posted today. So we'll get to that momentarily, but I do want to take a couple of your phone calls first. Connor's in the car. Connor, what do you got?
Hey, Maz. So it's obviously been like 10 years now, I think, since they got rid of the World Series home field advantage implications in the All-Star game.
Yes.
And I was just wondering, like, your thoughts on that, and if, is there any push whatsoever to bring that back? Because, I mean, I know personally, like, a lot of my friends all miss that. Like, it was cool. In the middle of July, you had a game that actually had, like, the aura of a playoff game because something was on the line. So, I was just wondering what your feelings on that were.
Yeah, so Connor, I'll tell you, I don't think it ever had the aura of a playoff game. I'm just giving you my honest opinion. And to tie something meaningful to it was really kind of foolish. And I think that most of the country felt that way. I think you're the exception. And I'm not blaming you for it. You're allowed to, in your mind, if it added to the level of intensity, fine. I don't think it did. I think the reason it didn't is, honestly, I don't think that baseball really cares all that much about home field advantage. And I'm trying to speak from experience. I remember covering teams where they said we'd rather get our pitching lined up than play at home. So that was the emphasis down the stretch in some of those seasons where it was a foregone conclusion that the Red Sox were going to make the playoffs. They were the wild card team. They played on the road a lot. So, and they won World Series doing it. In 2004, again, now in 2004, Jimmy, did they start the World Series here? They did. Did they have home field in that World Series? In St.
Game
Louis?
1 and 2 were at Fenway Park.
Okay.
And that was when they had the 2-3-2 format. So 6 and 7 would have been at Fenway.
So so maybe because it was probably tied to the All-Star game or something, or it was
I believe it was when they were rotating years.
Okay, so maybe that's what it was. Right. I was trying to think of how they ended up with it. But the home field advantage should go to the team with the best record. That's a simple way to do it. Anyway, the All-Star, I don't need the All-Star game to be a real event. I don't need that. I'm okay with it being an exhibition. I would rather they do what they did now. And I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I like it being used as a laboratory. So give me the ABS, the automated ball strike system. Give me the swing off at the end of the game to break a tie. Give me things I haven't seen before. Let the whole country see it and let us be the judge of what we like and what we don't like. And then put it in the game. If you can put it in the game, that's a better way to go. Ryan in Easton. Ryan, what do you got?
Hey, Maz, big fan. First of all, I agree with you. They definitely need a number 2 pitcher. And for all his flaws, I think Breslow understands the need for pitching between his actions in the draft, his going out and getting Crochet. And the last part about it is ownership doesn't really care if money isn't involved. So I don't think they're really concerned about us trading prospects. And Breslow's clearly not afraid to trade prospects. So to me, I'm actually a little bit more confident in the front office to actually make this move than the team on the field.
Yeah, Ryan, believe me when I tell you, you're nuts if you think they don't care about prospects. They do, and not for the reasons that you think you might like prospects. They like prospects because prospects are cheap. So I think in some ways, I think you got it backwards. I think ownership wants to run it like a business and then hope that the players, that they get into the playoffs and that they get a little bit of luck and they win a World Series. I think they largely believe that winning in the playoffs is luck. Part of the Moneyball tenet is that, that famous line by Billy Beane, my crap doesn't work in the postseason. Because you know what? It's a small sample, and now you're relying on talent. And now you're relying on guys who can perform under pressure. When you play in the regular season, you know what it is? Math. It's a math game. someone's going to hit 350 means he's going to get a hit 35% of the time over a large sample. But you get him in a 1 week slump and he's going to hit $110, whether he's good or not. So the performance in baseball is predictable over a large sample. The way the analyst thinks about it, the playoffs are a crapshoot, which is why I want a number 2 pitcher. Go get me Joe Ryan. I told you, I disagreed with Kenny Rosenthal, but he did a podcast with Alana Rizzo. Jimmy, we're going to start and stop this. So if we could, let's play the beginning. I think the first voice you're going to hear is Alana Rizzo, who, by the way, also works on the Red Sox Unfiltered alternate broadcast with Jared Carabas. I've never met Alana Rizzo. She seems perfectly nice, and she clearly played along in this thing, so that's great. But anyway, here's Alana Rizzo and Kenny Rosenthal.
One team probably that didn't want the All-Star break, Ken, is the Boston Red Sox on some kind of high right now going into the All-Star break. You spoke about the Red Sox trade deadline approaching, or the Red Sox approaching the deadline, rather, on Tuesday's Foul Territory. Now, on 98.5, the Sports Hub here
Hold on. Here we go. This is what I like now. All of a sudden, we're a topic on the Kenny Rosenthal podcast. This is good. This I like.
Approaching the deadline, rather, on Tuesday's Foul Territory. Now, on 98.5, the Sports Hub here in Boston, Tony Maserati responded to what you had to say. Take a listen.
Ken Rosenthal says now they don't even need a number 2 starter, Mess.
If he were here right now, I'd strangle him with his bow tie, is what I would do. He's out of his mind. So look, I mean, they've been on a nice stretch here. Giolito and Bayo have been good of late. You really want to bank on that down the stretch in October? Wouldn't you rather have Giolito as your number 4 starter and Bayo as your 3rd guy? Go out and get Joe Ryan? Now you're talking. Now you can match up with just about anybody. So this idea of that they're already there, let's not get stupid about it. And I love Kenny. Kenny, I've learned a lot from Kenny over the years. So, just about the game on the field and how teams build lineups and whatever. But no, you don't stop here. With the young guys they've got, go out and get yourself a pitcher that can be here for the next 2 or 3 years. And then and that gives your prospects time to develop. They just took, 14 pitchers in the draft or whatever the number was. So buy yourself some time. Go get another guy. Okay, now, before we go on, Jimmy, can we pause there for 1 minute? Here's what a lot of people don't know about Kenny Rosenthal. First of all, he's been a tremendous reporter for a long time. He used to be a columnist years ago at the Baltimore Sun, and a good one. He was one of the few guys in the entire country who was willing to take on Cal Ripken Jr. And when I say take him on, there was a lot of controversy in Baltimore at that time about Ripken refusing to change positions and refusing to come out of the lineup because of that damn streak. And I say that damn streak. I think they ultimately ended up playing in 2,632 straight games or something like that. 2632, I think, was the number, without missing a game. But the streak became such a thing in Baltimore that there were nights when Ripken played that he shouldn't have. And frankly, it hurt the team at times. Ken Rosenthal was one of the only people who was willing to call that out. And frankly, he was at the front of the line. So I have tremendous respect for his willingness to stick his nose in there. I just happen to disagree with him on the Joe Ryan thing. But I'll tell you what, since we're up against it, we'll continue this when we come back. Don't go anywhere. I'll tell you a little bit more about what he said. And we will also get to more of your calls. Don't go anywhere on the Baseball Hour. Majorities, get your headlines.
Essential Sports Hub headline.
ESPN's Sham Surania. The deal is expected to include a player option in 2027 and a no-trade clause. It says a storybook reunion home for the 35-year-old. Some NFL news today. Pittsburgh Steeler T.J. Watt has become the highest-paid non-quarterback in NFL history, reaching agreement today on a three-year, $123 million extension that includes $108 million fully guaranteed at signing. Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice was sentenced to 5 years probation and 30 days of jail time that can be served during those 5 years, stemming from his role in a multi-car crash in Dallas during the 2024 offseason. Now that the judge has ruled, the NFL can expedite its disciplinary process, and Rice is likely to receive a multi-game suspension. Chargers wide receiver Mike Williams is retiring from the NFL after 8 seasons. The Red Sox are back tomorrow when they kick off a 3-game set in Chicago with the Cubs. First pitch tomorrow afternoon is at 2:20. The Celtics Summer League action continues tonight with a matchup with the Los Angeles Lakers. Tip-off is at 9 o'clock. And day one of the Open Championship is in the books. It's a 5-way tie at the top at 4 under par. American Harris English is one of the 5 tied. From the first tee shot to the final putt, it took 15 hours and 36 minutes to complete the first round at Royal Portrush today. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Valvoline. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your drive-thru oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. I'm Kevin Majori on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update in 30 minutes.
You're listening to the Baseball Hour with Tony Maz.
Hey, it's Felger here, and there's nothing more refreshing than an ice-cold Surfside iced tea and vodka or Surfside lemonade and vodka to break the heat. Surfside is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar, and 0 bubbles. That's right, no carbonation. It's not a seltzer, it's a Surfside. Must be 21. Please drink responsibly.
Roofing? Mario's. Siding? Mario's. Windows? Mario's. Skylights? Just call Mario's.
Hi, this is Stephen Goulston, owner of Mario's Quality Roofing, Siding, Windows, and Skylights. Homeowners choose Mario's Roofing because we're fair, honest, and provide quality services. Call Mario's Roofing today for a free estimate, 781-344-2420. Visit us at mariosroofing.com. Mario's Roofing, we won't soak you to keep you warm and dry.
The question always comes up, where to take your vehicle for reliable and trustworthy service, whether it's repair or just maintenance. I know just the place. Meineke Car Care is your one-stop shop for total car care. They handle engines, brakes, oil, tires, and yeah, they do mufflers too. Each Meineke is independently owned and operated. That's why I trust them to handle the maintenance of my personal vehicle. Meineke prides itself on providing exceptional customer service. Go to Meineke.com for the location near you and schedule an appointment today. Trust your key with Meineke, doing car care right.
I've always gotten tons of UTIs. Cranberry products never worked for me, and I was desperate for a way to be proactive. I'm Jenna Ryan, CEO and founder of Eucora. We've worked with doctors to develop effective urinary tract health products. Eucora is helping over 100,000 women stay healthy. Ready to join them? Get 30% off at eucora.com/radio. That's UQORA.com/radio.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
I wanna break out, I wanna shake out, I wanna get out. I gotta move. It's gonna be a Subaru summer.
Subaru summer is finally here. Hit the road in the 2025 Subaru Outback. Buy with 1.9% financing for up to 72 months, or lease for just $255 per month for 36 months with $42.54 due at signing. The 2025 Outback is built for bold getaways with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive, rugged capability for any terrain, and smart safety features designed to go the extra mile. Buy the 2025 Outback with 1.9% financing for up to 72 months, or lease for just $255 per month with $42.54 due at signing. Make this summer a Subaru summer in a trusted 2025 Subaru Outback. For complete details, visit SubaruofNewEngland.com.
It's gonna be a Subaru summer.
Hey everyone, it's Chris from Blue Bear Plumbing, Heating and Air. No matter what your AC needs, we're here to help. Whether it's a tune-up to keep your system running strong or a brand new installation for ultimate comfort, you can count on us. At Blue Bear, our mission is simple. Better our people, better our community, better your comfort. Because your home deserves the best. Call now or visit bluebearplumbing.com to book your appointment with us today. That's bluebearplumbing.com. And see why homeowners trust us for honest and reliable service. Hashtag the bear was here.
From Little League to the show, Baseball Monkey has you covered. The best brands and gear built for every level. Shop now at baseballmonkey.com, where real ball players buy.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, so, and are you heading down the basement to watch the game, and bam, that smell hits you harder than a line drive off the bat? You got a mold problem there, my friend, and that's when you call my guy Chris over at Green Home Solutions. These guys are the real deal, and they use all-natural, enzyme-based treatments that attack mold right at the root. No harsh chemicals, no drywall demolition, no weeks of cleanup. In fact, Chris and his team can be in and out in less than a day. Your basement, back to game ready before first pitch. Give them a call today at 1-800-SOLUTIONS and tell them Zoe sent you.
For a limited time, save 15% on everything at Jordan's Furniture and get up to 60 months special financing. Restrictions apply. Visit Jordans.com.
This is a public service announcement from 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Parents have a helping hand in keeping their kids healthy with free or low-cost health insurance from Medicaid and CHIP programs in Massachusetts. Call 1-877-KIDS-NOW or go to insurekidsnow.gov.
Hot Takes with Tony Maz and a panel of experts.
Oh, I like this.
It's the Baseball Hour with Tony Maz on the Sports Hub.
To my little dig at him earlier in the week. Pat, oh, sorry, wrong one. Connor and Needham. Connor, what do you got?
Mass, how's it going, man? I wanted to get your take on the whole Joe Ryan situation. I love the prospect of the Sox adding him. I think he's a great fit. So my questions are, one, do you think it's realistic that they make this move? And two, who do you think they're going to have to give up to get a player like that? I mean, he's got a sub-3 ERA. He was an all-star.
Yep. So we know the credentials. Thank you for the call. I'm just trying to get as many people in as I can, Connor. So the question to me is not whether or not, well, I shouldn't say that. Are the Red Sox, willing to do what's necessary to get him? I don't know. I mean, this is to answer my own question about who do I have more confidence in. Believe it or not, I have more confidence in the team on the field right now. So I don't know how ownership and management looks at this deadline, how committed they are to winning this year and in getting that whole sort of a winning mentality back in Boston with the Red Sox. Because the one thing that gives me confidence is that if you are trading Rafael Devers because you don't like the standard he sets in the clubhouse and that his whole presence was a cloud and a weight on the organization. And then when I say that, I mean the players. I don't think he was a poison in the clubhouse. That's my opinion. But I do think that the whole Devers issue was hovering over the team. And if they wanted to move Devers because they were concerned enough about the culture, then they should be willing to add for the same reason. You follow me? You want a winning culture. Well, then build it. This part's on them. Now, I happen to think they dumped Devers because they wanted to get rid of the contract. That's why they dumped him. If he were making $10 million, they'd have kept him. So let's see what happens. What will it take to get Joe Ryan? I think it's going to cost you a good pitching prospect. At least one pitching prospect and probably one or two other players. Now, can they pull that off? Let's see. Let's see how bad they want it. See, that's what I think this deadline is going to tell you. How bad do they want it? We're going to get our answer. And that's why I think there's more on them than there is on the players in uniform. Mark's in Dorchester. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, hey, guys. Just sort of piggybacking up the last caller's call. So I want to get your thoughts on, obviously, getting Joe Ryan or like a Gilbert or like the guy from the Brewers. So I want to get your thoughts on possibly using Marcelo Meyer as trade bait. I like Meyer. I don't love Meyer. And, back then, if we could trade Hanley Ramirez for Beckett and Lowell, I think Myers is not going to be Hanley Ramirez. So I think let somebody else get the hype off Meyer. So I have no problem moving up him. But what do you think about trading him straight up for one of those pitchers?
Okay, Mark, what if I said Christian Campbell? Oh, he hung up. I don't want to trade Meyer. I think part of the reason to get Joe Ryan is because he can pitch for you for a couple of years and you'll still have Meyer and you'll still have Anthony and you will still have Christian Campbell. So I don't want to do that. I would rather trade prospects. And you know what? At the end of the day, I think the Twins might feel the same way. They would rather have guys coming into their system because they have a smaller payroll than you. The Twins are up for sale right now, or I don't know if it's agreed upon yet.
They're in the midst of the sale process.
Okay, it's $1.7 billion, I think.
Which is why Joe Ryan is potentially available.
Okay, $1.7 billion. The Red Sox are worth like three and a half times that much, or 3 times that much at least. They're somewhere in the $5 billion range, I think. So, you know, the idea that like the Twins need more minor leaguers than the Red Sox do if they want to compete. Before we get back to more of your calls, I do want to play a little more of this Kenny Rosenthal thing because, again, Kenny addressed the comments we made from earlier in the week. So, Jimmy, let's pick it up where we left off.
Ken, what is your response to the response?
First of all, Tony and I are friends, and I've known Tony forever. He used to be a baseball writer before he obviously went over to the dark side.
Let's pause there. True. Talk radio is the dark side. The reporting job back then had much more credibility than this one does, but that's the price of tea, as they say. So you make the switch, you live with the consequences. The money is better in radio than it is in the newspaper business or the writing business, although I bet you Kenny does better than all of us. In any case, let's continue.
And I've known Tony forever. He used to be a baseball writer before he obviously went over to the dark side of talk radio. Now, I understand what he's saying, and I don't want to be misconstrued here, and maybe it's my own fault for being misconstrued. I did say at one point, I believe, they don't necessarily need a number 2 starter, but I clarified it in what I wrote today, too. Ideally, yes, you want the best pitcher you can get. I'm just not sure the kind of pitcher that Tony's talking about and the ideal number 2 prototype is going to be available.
We stop there, Jimmy. Okay, and honestly, I don't. I think this is about the essence of the point, and he's right. If Joe Ryan's not available, then what? And you will know this one based on whether or not Ryan moves. If Ryan stays in Minnesota, then ultimately the Twins did not want to move him, or they weren't enticed to move him. And so, and by the way, if they want to move him, there will be other bidders. The Yankees are going to want to get in on it. There are going to be a bunch of teams that want to get in on Joe Ryan. He's a good get, and everybody knows it. But where the Red Sox have the advantage is in their minor league system. If it's as good as everyone thinks it is, and they have some good talent, and there are people outside the organization that say that, if it's as good as everyone thinks it is, they should be able to outbid teams. And again, we'll see exactly. We're going to get a gauge here, one way or the other, on how much the Red Sox really want to get back to being a power in Major League Baseball and in the American League. Not necessarily in that order. Let's start with the league first. To be a power in the division, be a power in the league, and be a power in the game. And threaten teams like the Dodgers and teams like the Mets and the Braves, who are having a bad year, admittedly, but you get the idea. I want to be on that level again. I assume you do too. Scott in Connecticut on the Red Sox. Good, Scott.
Hey, what's up, Maz? I love the idea of trying to trade for Joe Ryan, but I'm bracing myself for the excuses at the deadline when either he's not available or the cost ends up being prohibitive or beyond what the Red Sox have an appetite to spend. And to me, that's even more frustrating because they essentially punted on bringing in real talent from outside the organization until they called up all the kids this year. Whereas if they were more proactive last offseason or the offseason before, and this ties back to your point about giving all these short-term deals to all these reclamation.
Okay, Scott, I know you're talking about pitching in particular, but they did bring in Crochet via trade. They did bring in Walker Buehler, albeit on a 1-year deal. And I'll admit it, at the time, I thought Buehler had a chance to be better than he is. So I want to be honest with that. I didn't hate the Buehler acquisition, but I wanted something in between the two. In addition to Crochet, I wanted something better than Buehler. And if you want to take a flyer on Buehler, that's fine. Also, Chapman has been good. And I think specifically you're talking about starters. I thought Chapman was going to suck. Chapman has been good, but keep going.
I agree. Chapman's been great, but looking at like Patrick Sandoval, for example, if they took some of this money and they were more willing to extend themselves for a guy like Max Fried, you'd be in a position now where you're not hoping that the cost for Joe Ryan meets what you're willing to spend. They could have been more proactive and built this team over the course of several years and been in a better position now. If you look at 2018...
Scott, I'm going to let you go again just because I want to get to other people. But yes, that I agree with. And I said this earlier in the season. I think Jimmy will vouch for me on this one. But they shouldn't have just traded for Garrett Crochet. And they went to Crochet after they lost out on Max Fried. They should have done both. One was money, one was prospects. Perfect. And then they wanted to sign Crochet on top of it. No problem. Do it. And then if one of those guys gets hurt, at least you'll have the other one to lean on and keep you in it. If you had them both right now, I'll tell you what, you'd be a hell of a lot farther ahead in the race than you are right now. Despite all the problems with the defense and the base running and the mistakes that were made by the young players and telling them, look how young we are. And all, first of all, they're not that young. And secondly, their issue for a good chunk of it was pitching, which is why they're winning now, because the pitching has gotten better and Bayo has gotten better and Giolito's been pretty good, at least in the last, call it 6 to 8 starts. But if they had done it earlier, yes, that I agree with. So, and this is the point I'm making now about the offseason that's upcoming. Don't wait for the offseason. You're going to need pitching anyway. So go get Joe Ryan now. If he's out there, if nobody moves, okay, well, then that's different. We'll see. We'll see whether or not any starters, good starters, move on the market. But Joe Ryan's got term. Go out and get him. Gino in a car. Good, Gino.
Hey, Matt. So I've heard a lot of the people that would have to be included for Joe Ryan, one of the names being Peyton Tolley. And if I don't, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I heard you say you wouldn't include him in the trade for Joe Ryan. I would personally, because what I've read or what I've seen about Peyton Tolley is that he would be a number 2 starter, and that's what Joe Ryan is. So if you choose to keep him, then you're essentially hoping that he becomes Joe Ryan, and you could just have Joe Ryan now.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Gino, listen, it's good logic. I totally get what you're saying. And Jimmy Stewart threw a name at me the other day. Jimmy, who was the lefty you said that they used to have?
Henry Owens.
Henry Owens. Very good, Jimmy. You remembered.
Like, what if this prospect is Henry Owens or Anderson Espinoza or Casey Kelly? What if he's one of these high prospects that never actually pans out? Do you want to go for it now? Or wait the 2 or 3 years when you can have Joe Ryan for 2 to 3 years? Or do you want to wait 2 to 3 years and hope that this left-handed prospect can actually develop into something?
So, Jimmy, it's a legitimate point. I was just looking this up because Peyton Tolley was drafted in the 2nd round. Okay, so I just wanted to see where he was.
Henry Owens was a first-round pick.
Okay, and this kid looks like he's got a bigger body, though. Like, he looks a little more durable to me. But in any case, it's a fair point. All I'm saying is it's not as simple as number 2 starter for number 2 starter, although I know what it's not a bad way to look at it, that if his ceiling is Joe Ryan, then why wouldn't you just take the real thing now? And there are 2 answers to that. One is the service time. You'll only get him for 2 years. The second is the money. And I know that you don't care about that, but if we're going to be fair about it, when I say fair about it, you got to, you can't pay everybody, so you have to have some cheaper options on your staff. This guy would be cheaper. So I'm just trying to look at it as, within the context of what the parameters are. I'm not telling you I like all the parameters. But would I rather have Joe Ryan for 6 years or would I rather have him for 2? My answer is for 6. So I'll take the 6 years. I'd prefer to give up something less. And they have a couple of other prospects in their top 10 that are performing well at AA. And you know what? Move those guys. Try to give them volume and see what you get. Make someone else pay the price that you don't want to pay. That I can live with a little bit, especially if it's the Yankees. We got just a few minutes left. I see a couple of you there. Don't go anywhere. We'll get to your calls when we come back on the Baseball Hour. Just a couple of minutes left on tonight's program. We have a couple of callers left. So let me just ask you, as I always would, just try to be quick, straight to the point. See if we get both of these calls in. Just try to fit in as many people as possible. Patrick in South Carolina on the Red Sox need for a number 2 starter. Go ahead, Patrick.
Hey, Maz, I'm all in on Joe Ryan, but when is Tanner Houck coming off the IL, and what's the expectations for him to contribute on the stretch drive?
Okay, so Patrick, before I let you go, what are your expectations?
Well, he entered the season as the number 2. I'm hoping he's going to come off with a clean slate of health and contribute something as a number 2 starter.
Yeah, and would you bank on, when you say hope, would you bank on hope?
No.
Okay. Well, nor would I. And so this is the problem. Look, I like Houck as a pitcher. I always have. I think his stuff is pretty good. He's just inconsistent with it. So, here's what I would do. I'd go out and get yourself another starter. And then if Tanner Houck comes back and pitches well, what's wrong with that? Great. If you get the same guy you got last year, well, now you can talk about all kinds of stuff. You can put him in the bullpen. You can put someone else in the bullpen. You can have 3, 4, 5 good starters if they're all rolling at once. Like, that's a good problem to have. I'll take that. Eric in a car. Eric, go ahead.
Hey, Tony. I know a lot of the focus is going to be on making a move for pitching, which is understandable, but I feel like they also need first base help too. So what are your thoughts on trying to make a move for Josh Naylor out in Arizona?
Okay, so I don't love Naylor, and beyond that, I would tell you, as much as we all would love them to address every need as soon as possible, it just doesn't work out that way. So we all know that. And I first base right now is not a huge priority for me. It's just not. And when I say that, I'm not telling you that I think Abraham Toro and Romy Gonzalez are Hall of Famers, because they're not. But when you use them the way you've been using them, you're good enough there. You're good enough, assuming that everything else stays intact. And next year, you'll have a choice between Casas and Campbell, or maybe some combination of the two. 1 DHs, 1 plays. And you give them each 80 games in the field or whatever. You get the idea. So you don't have a long-term need. Your short-term need isn't as important as other things. So I would just leave that one on the back burner. And I would go out and get some pitching that, again, in my mind, can help you next year and beyond. That's the big thing for me. And that's the big reason I feel as strongly as I do about Ryan, whom I like either way. But Ryan isn't just a short-term rental. You have a young group. Your team's going to continue to get better here over the next couple of years. So why not get a guy that can help take you to where you want to go now, rather than go out on the free agent market and have to find it that way or make a trade during the winter? To me, this is the perfect time to do it. Joe Murray's coming up next. No commercials here. Kevin Majori's got your headlines update on the all the developments at the British Open, or I should call it the Open Championship. And a little bit of breaking news in the NBA as well. We'll catch you next time.
From the Telford Tech Studio.